Hi there. Right, we've decided to go live a few minutes early to see if everyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Comes some. Of course, if you can't hear me, you can't say no, can you? Can you hear me, Hazel? Can you hear me, Richard? Awesome. Well, Hazel can hear me. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Hysham. Hello, Richard. Hello, Master Personal Space, if you're still here. Hello, Alan Stewart. We've got a few minutes to go before we're due to start. Give people a chance to join. Hello, Domi. Hello, Gloria. Don't be shy. Do come and say hi. So before we seriously get going, I'll probably say this again, but before we get going, this is my first time for ever going on live on YouTube, apart from a couple of practice runs last night, and it's Hazel's first time for ever being a moderator. So just please bear with us. If it all goes pear-shaped, we won't have a clue about how to sort it out. But, you know, you live and learn, don't you? Hello, Jennifer. Up late in Australia. Oh, my goodness. That's very nice of you. What time is it in Australia now? It's about 3 o'clock in the morning or something, isn't it? Or are you 7 hours different? Depends which part of Australia you were in. Nice to meet you too, Gloria. Which part of Australia are you in, Jennifer? $2:30. Oh my goodness! So you're in the middle of Australia somewhere, aren't you? Yes, Adelaide, where they've got the half-hour time difference. Must make it very awkward for you being half an hour different from the rest of Australia, but you know. Good afternoon, Paula. Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock officially, so it's officially time to start. So thank you all for joining us. Got all excited the other day when we got to 1,000 subscribers, and of course it's all thanks to all of you. Without any of you, it wouldn't have happened, and it was quite amazing. I never thought when I started the channel that we would get so many subscribers so many quickly. Oh, sorry about that, Jennifer. Oh, well, we'll try and entertain you for an hour. So let's get started. Oh, hello, Yvonne. Does anyone have any questions, which is the whole point of it, Q&A? I have a few questions to ask you, but does anyone here have some questions to ask me? Hello, Stephen from Pennsylvania. Hello, Anna. Because if you don't ask me questions, I'm going to start asking you questions. The first of which, hello, Stephen from Pennsylvania. Do I have a favourite video I've uploaded? Oh, gosh, I've got several. I'll answer that in a minute, Richard. I've got several favourites. It tends to change as I upload them. I did have rather a soft spot for Alistair Leslie, I have to confess. Do I reach out to the scammers? No, I don't. I get the scammers by various means. They always contact me. Have you been recognised online or on the street by any scammers? I live in a small village in rural England. I don't think we have any scammers on our street. Nobody's recognised me online. Well, apart from people that know me, obviously. Have you ever thought in the beginning they may be genuine? No, I haven't. Mainly because of where I post in order to get them to contact me. So I know immediately that they're not genuine. And if somebody contacts you and their profile tells you they're an engineer or a doctor in Syria, or they're not genuine, they just aren't. What made me start Scambaiting and what made me start the channel? Good evening, Ian. Do I get anxious when I scambait? No, I don't. I have to confess, I have a rather perverse sense of humour and I enjoy it. Why did I start it? The two go together. I've run Keep Safe on the Net, the anti-scam blog, for about, I always forget whether it's 12 or 14 years. A long time. And my first alter ego, Annie, came about because of that. And in those days, it was just looking at PayPal, fake PayPal emails, bank emails, all the usual scams. And so Annie got her first email address and started answering them. So that's how I started. And then when I first started the blog was very popular, actually. I even had inquiries from the press and magazines, but that's historical because nobody uses websites anymore. What made me start the channel? I think I started it in September. I'm a very impulsive person. I literally sat down one afternoon and thought, I'm going to start a YouTube channel without having any idea what I was doing. So I started a YouTube channel and I just thought, well, nobody uses the blog anymore. Let's put them all on YouTube. And that's where it started. If you look back at the historical videos, which I will probably take down because I'm going to remake some of them, it was all the usual Keep Safe on the Net stuff, fake giveaways and fake emails and all that kind of stuff. And then I thought, why don't I make a video with some of the comments that people have left on Keep Safe on the Net over the years? I've had lots of people either email me or comment about how they became scam victims. And so I made a couple of videos about scam victims, I think. And I think one of them was romance scam victims. And that was the one that started getting attention. And then I started to, I have 4 alter egos now, as you know. There's Denise who talks like that, and a lot of people don't like her, so I'm going to have to think of a different voice. And there's Serafina, who floats around lighting candles. And then there's Celia and Annie, who are much more hard-hitting. And it just sort of took off. I don't really know. And it was just, people seem to like the romance scam ones. And there aren't so many people on YouTube, I think, who specialise in the romance scams one. There are a lot of people that do the scam call centres. And, I did have one video, didn't I? Oh, I'm glad some of you liked it. Oh, Denise is very flattered that you like her. Thank you very much, Anna and Alan. I did. Yes, Scambait Central has Kofi Mensa. That's right. Yes. Who would I say is my best bait to date? I think possibly the one that was the fake Eric Whittaker, because I learnt a lot doing that one. It was a few months ago now, and I learnt a lot about how the more sophisticated scamming gangs work, and I started learning about money mules. And at some stage, I do plan to make a video about money mules, but it's still going around in my head because the BBC have done quite a good documentary. which I'm not allowed to use any of because I contacted them. But somebody did email me to tell me the story of how their partner became a money mule, and I can't use any of it, and I can't tell you any of the details because they were very concerned that if any of the actual details become public, it could be traceable. So we agreed not to make the video, but I could put some generalizations in a video if I do one about money mules. Thank you, Joe. It's very kind of you. Oh, someone else likes Denise. Well, there you go. I was walking around the house practicing some less annoying older voices the other day. Do you feel sick when they kiss you? If you listen to some of those videos where you do that, you'll hear there's pauses, and sometimes they say to me, "Are you still there?" And that's because I'm like this, with both hands over my mouth, because I'm just laughing so hard at them. Especially that last one, Paul Rossi, who clearly had, well, he claimed he didn't have COVID, but he clearly had something really horrible. And I can't imagine anyone in their right mind would have wanted to kiss him at the time. Have I had my tea? Mind your own business. I'm not telling you what I had for breakfast either. Right. While there's a slight pause, I have a couple of little questions. Yeah, the kissing is very cringy, isn't it? So one of the now I've lost you. Come back. One of the things that we wanted to ask, or I wanted to ask tonight, is what kind of videos, what kind of content do you guys want to see? And I try to mix it up a bit so that it's not entirely romance scams, and I put the occasional one that what I call a more traditional keep safe in the net one in there. But what kind of content would you guys like to see? Are you happy with what I'm doing at the moment? Hope you're not stressed. Get out of here, dummy. I'm not entirely sure why so many scammers think that everybody's stressed. The eating, and also, what's the weather condition over there? Stories of how real victims got scammed. Yes. So far, I can't remember how many I've put up, about 3 from people that have contacted me. So I can only put them up if people send them to me. So I need more people to send me their stories. So if anybody here has either been a victim or knows someone that's been a victim and would like to tell their story, please contact help@keepsafeonthenet.co.uk. Hang on, I'll just type that down here for you. help@keepsafeonthenet.co.uk. That's right, yeah. So far, the stories have been completely anonymous. But if somebody would like to appear on video or would like to have a live chat with me, well, a recorded chat, there's one going up in a few weeks where Hazel and I, my moderator Hazel and I, had a chat, but that's not live yet. So if you want anonymity, I guarantee that. And also, when I've made the video, I don't make it live until the subject has watched it and approved it. And I'm always happy to edit them, so we can do that. I've had a question. Faker Dr. Fernando Pinto Gomez. He was a dead ringer for Roy Orbison, a singer from the 1960s. He went by Anthony G. Williams on my old Instagram account. Well, maybe he was using Roy Orbison's photos. Only viewers of a certain age will remember him, won't they? Do you think real scammers know you? I don't think they do yet, but it's bound to happen, isn't it? The other thing is that I do, of course, have 4 alter egos, and I suppose, in a sense, they're all fake accounts on Facebook. So if one of the scammers got really hacked off with me and reported them, I could lose one. So we'd have to invent someone else. I asked my relative and she's thinking of contacting you. Well, please do, because there's a lady, the last video that I made about a scam victim. I can't remember when it went live. But the lady that contacted me was very, well, I think I said in the video, she was very embarrassed and she felt it was her fault. Well, she emailed me a few days after it had gone live, saying that she'd finally told one of her daughters, and that her daughter had been very supportive, and actually making the video had allowed her to move on. Oh, thank you so much, Hannah. That's so kind of you. Thank you very, very much. So please tell your relative not to be embarrassed, not to be afraid, and that I would never put anything live that he or she that she wasn't 100% happy with, and that if the previous person's experience is anything to go by, telling her story may help her understand what happened and understand that it wasn't her fault, because it isn't people's fault. These scammers are very clever. Sorry, just not a computer there. These scammers are very clever. They know how to draw you in, especially if you're on a dating website, because I don't get mine through dating websites, but you know, for obvious reasons, if you go on a dating website, you're looking to make a connection with someone. You want to find somebody that likes you, that you like. And, you know, let's be honest, ladies, a lot of the photos they use are very handsome. And, you know, if you and I can only speak from the female point of view. I obviously have never baited men. Baited women. But also understand that these kind of scams, these kind of romance scams, work every way. There are fake female profiles baiting the men. There are fake gay profiles for members of the LGBT community. Nobody is immune. It happens all around the world. And you've just got to keep your wits about you. Why do you think they're always on oil rigs? I work with the military and used to get women writing in trying to contact fake military personnel. That must be horrible. It must be so awful if you're a member of the military or you actually are on... oh, thank you so much. Oh, I don't even know how to say that. WATMFW. Thank you so much. Yeah, it must be really horrible if you really are a military personnel or you really are on an oil rig, because if you want to genuinely go on a dating website, you're probably going to tell people you're not going to say you're a doctor, are you? Because that's another one. Probably tell people you're an accountant or something. Have you ever used a dating website? No, I haven't. My sister has. And she met a very nice man, but local to her. Now, that's an interesting thing, you see. It was somebody local that she could actually go and meet in person, not somebody that comes up with all kinds of stories about why they can't meet you. Because somebody once told me a story. I don't think it's on the site, but I think it was somebody that emailed me saying that the person claimed to be local to them, but also managed to come up with all sorts of reasons why they couldn't actually come and meet them. Thank you so much, Mr. Personal Space. Yes, the cat's made an appearance. Very sadly, you're going to come say hello? Going to come say hello? Come and say hello. Very sadly. Oh, thank you, Lee. I have two cats. This cat is very elderly, and she's having major seizures. She's had 2 today so far. So sadly, I don't think she's long for this world. And I have had her medicated, but I can't give it to her anymore. But I do have another one who has made a guest appearance in a video that's up, but not actually live yet. Hang on, if you just excuse me, I'll go and get her, and at least you can say hello to her. Hang on. Meow. Meow. Come and say hello to her. Okay. Meow. Come and say hello. Okay. Here she is. This is Mrs. Loud. Say hello. Just wave. Yes. And say, you going to say anything? You going to say hello? No? She's purring at you, but you can't hear that, can you? No. Yeah. She's called Lily. I don't think that's giving away anything. Then we'll put her down. Hang on. Down you go. There you go. Yeah, I've had her since she was 6. And as you can, yes, when I first got her, excuse me, I've got cat hair in my mouth now. When I first got her, this is straying off the point, isn't it? She came from the Cats Protection League, and she was totally mute. Her previous owners hadn't interacted with her. It took me about a year to get her to talk. Then she wouldn't shut up. See, they're all saying hello to you. Yeah. Jennifer says hi. So the other thing that I wanted to ask you all, and I know some of you have already said, is where are you all chatting from? So if you could just type where you are, let's see where everybody's from. Because I know that according to YouTube, about 50% of my subscribers are in the US, which was a big surprise to me, because I thought being English and being in Charlotte, North Carolina, Greenford, London, a real part of London, not the ones that the scammers make up, Paris, Blackpool, Aberdeen, Bristol, Adelaide, oh yes, Houston in Texas, Virginia, UK, Longview, Washington, Oklahoma, Mr. Personal Space, the video I was just making today was about Oklahoma, Springfield, Illinois, Birmingham, Southport, oh my goodness, well, obviously quite a lot of UK people on there, but probably more US. You have no idea how amazing it is just to be here and to have you all here. And because I never thought when I started the channel that we would, well, let's be honest, I'd hoped for 100 subscribers by Easter and maybe 500 for 1,000 by Christmas. But I never thought that I'd get 1,000 by now. And I never thought that the comments, I would just like to say thank you so much to everyone that's commented on the videos, because I just get amazing comments. And that's, I read every single comment that people leave. And I've had a few spam ones, obviously. I've had a few PORN ones that I've deleted. But so far, I haven't had a negative one. Obviously, we get the thumbs down, and my perverse sense of humour, the very first time I got a thumbs down, I got really excited. I was like, oh, I'm a real YouTuber, I've got a thumbs down. So there you go. I had 100 subscribers when you joined, did I, Pugs for Life? So you've seen it grow. Yes, thank you. Yes. Hello, Yvonne from London. Do I like Downton Abbey? Yes, I do. What I'm doing is promoting awareness. That is my main aim. I think I've said on some of the videos, I used to be an IT teacher, and I used to teach computing to adults. And so the educational side is kind of built into me. And the rather perverse sense of humour that I use is the same one that I used to use when I was teaching. And my students fell into kind of two categories. About 90% of them thought the lessons were hilarious and used to love coming. And the other 10%, you could see them staring at me like, what is this stupid woman talking about? But I'm afraid they got overruled, because teaching, if any of you are teachers, you'll know what I mean. Teaching is an act. They just don't teach you to act it when you do the qualification. The scammers who thumbs down. Actually, I don't think it is. I think there are just people who, for their own kicks, go on YouTube and thumbs down everything, because that's just what they do because they've got nothing better to do. How do you keep track of who you're talking to and where you're up to in the conversation? I try not to have too many of my alter egos scambaiting at the same time. And I have a spreadsheet with them all on. So I have a spreadsheet with who's baiting them, what's their name, where they're claiming to come from, what they're claiming to do, and then how much they ask for if we get to the point where they ask for money. What have you learned most from this? Do you ever get angry? Do I ever get angry? I get very frustrated with some of them. Unfortunately, I tend to sort of get frustrated with the ones that say, "No, what have you had for breakfast?" And so you keep asking me that, and it's somebody that hasn't asked me before. But I don't think I've ever got angry with any of them. If you watch Mr. Pricky, which I'm sure a lot of you do, you'll know that he finds shouting at the scammers very cathartic, I think. But then he does. Well, I suppose I talk to a lot of them on Hangouts. I don't do the phone. How does it feel knowing you, someone not from America, know more about America and its military system than the fraudsters that try to pose a part of it? You'd think they'd do their research. I think I know more about most things than most of them do. Yeah, you would think they would do their research, actually, wouldn't you? Because teachers don't get paid as much as actors, no, but on the other hand, they're guaranteed a job, aren't they? I don't know if that balances it out. Sorry, where was I? Yes, doing their research, because you'd think they'd realise that if they were talking to somebody genuine, that the first thing you're going to ask them, surely, is about their job. I mean, I don't know. I try to keep the conversations as natural as I can, but as I said, I've never been on a dating website, so I don't know what a natural conversation on a dating website would actually be. But I can't imagine that people are perpetually going to just say to you, "What's your favourite colour? What's your favourite film?" Oh, mustn't give that one away. That's the one I've just made. I haven't actually uploaded yet. That'll be a good one. That's look out for that. I'm about a month ahead with the uploads. Somebody called McKinney Alex, who was talking to Denise, and he asked her what her favourite film was. So she told him and asked him what his favourite film was. And then she asked him what it was about. And you'll have to wait and find out what he said. But he clearly had, I mean, I had at least managed to Google the film and find out what it was about. He apparently couldn't even do that. You have a lot more patience than I would, LOL. Well, do you know what? That's what people used to say to me when I was teaching. All my clients still, because I do a bit of computer troubleshooting. I'm kind of semi-retired. People say to me, "You're so patient." And I think, who are you talking about? That's not me. But I guess when you're working, it's an act, isn't it? And your work is not necessarily, the way you behave at work is not necessarily the way you behave at home. I had one get offended because I told him it's so odd to ask about my breakfast. Well, I tell them that all the time, and they just say, "Oh, it's not. What's it? What's there? There's nothing. Is nothing bad about it." No, but there's nothing good about it because you clearly don't have anything to talk about, do you? I only get asked if I've eaten if I'm in a bad mood, low sugar, low patience. Yeah, well, I get that one, Pugs for Life. I know where you're coming from on that. I can put that there is no such thing as a normal conversation for a dating website. Everyone is awkward in their own way. That's part of why they're on a dating website to begin with. Do you know what? I would have agreed with you 10 or 15 years ago, but isn't that how everybody does it? I mean, one of my nephews, he and his partner met through an online dating thing, and they were at the same university. So, I don't know. I think everyone does it, don't they? Hey, why go out and meet someone if you can sit at home munching crisps and do it all online? Asking about what one has eaten is a very cultural African thing. We tend to socialise around food. I find that even after being in GB for most of my life, I tend to ask my friends what they ate. That's interesting, Hannah. That's very interesting. I was actually watching a kind of live stream tour last week. Somebody who went to a Maasai village, and that was very interesting. I have to say, I'm getting fascinated by Nigeria. I've started reading about Nigeria because it's actually quite an interesting country with quite a troubled history and a very unhappy government at the moment. Scammers text sometimes put a space before the colon, semicolon, exclamation mark, question mark. This is standard French punctuation, a language spoken in Nigeria and Ghana. That's interesting because they also, I've noticed, use the question mark a lot when they're not actually asking a question. I mean, I have to say, I shouldn't admire scammers because obviously they're, nobody admires a scammer, but they're all doing it in a second language. I mean, some of their English skills are atrocious, but I have to say it's a lot better than my command of Yoruba or Igbo or even French, which is what I was supposed to have learned at school. So, all these guys speak. And somebody said to me the other day, they all speak Pidgin as well, so that some of them speak 3 or 4 languages. I did have one on the go the other day who claimed to be, has lived all his life in Madrid. And I did chuck something through Google Translate and I was going to say something to him in Spanish, but then I never quite got around to it because, he has verbal diarrhea, so it's hard to get a word in edgeways, to be fair, so I didn't bother. If even a cafe boy can speak French, I'm lagging behind. We are, Mr. Personal Space. We seriously are. I was on a dating site for 3 years and encountered 3 different scammers. I'd never heard about them back then, but I didn't send money. Well, that's good, Geraldine. And that's the problem because, oh, thanks, Isis. I don't know what that means. Yeah, that's good, Geraldine. We all think, oh, well, first of all, how can anyone get taken in by this? Because it's really obvious. And, we all know about scammers. I know about them because I'm making the channel. You all know because you've been watching it. But, there are people out there still that don't use the internet very much because they have lives, unlike me, apparently, and don't know about scammers. And so they're not looking out for them. Everybody's been warned about telephone scams. Everybody knows that if somebody phones you up and tells you your broadband's about to be cut off, that's fake. And increasingly people know about the bank one, which was one of the videos I made earlier this year about a friend of mine who had, I think, £18,000 stolen. But not everybody knows about the scammers. Has anyone ever confessed that they're fake and come clean to you? Yes. A few people have confessed that they're fake. Have they come clean? No, I don't think they have. I think, and I have heard other scambaiters say this, that they have what I would call a plan B, which is that if they give in and they can't stick to their script when someone is saying to them, you're obviously fake, you don't know what you're talking about, they then have an alternative, which is my mother's sick, my sister's sick, I haven't got a job, I need money to feed my family. One clearly went down the road into an empty house and was saying to me, this is the way we live. I didn't believe him. So they then go into begging mode, hoping that because they've then given you an alternative sob story and claimed they're telling you the truth, hoping that you will feel sorry for them and send them money. And when I refuse to do that, some of them are like, really? You're not going to send me money? No. Why would I? You've told me that you've been telling me a pack of lies. Why would I believe you now? So I actually think some of them have a plan B fallback. Oh, hello, Kay Sjördin. My Swedish is not good, I'm afraid. But hello from Stockholm. Glad you made videos and also love what you do. There are good people on Instagram. No real victims and these scammers are shameful. I agree with you, Yvonne. Agreed. You've actually been scammed at work. A sneaky customer requested $500 to be put onto their credit card. This is a thing that can only be done with cash. She tried to use another card to pay for it. And upon realising it was cash only, she said she'd go to her bank, grab the cash and be right back. She did not come back. The cash was already on her account and she left behind the cards she used. She robbed 3 stores for a total of $1,500 that night using a bunch of disposable credit cards all attached to one account. I ended up losing my job next week. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Personal Space. That's horrible. Because as a retail person, you want to trust your customers, don't you? Why wouldn't you? I get a lot of scammers from India call, depending on what I'm doing. I keep them on the line for hours. I have a fake name and address. Yes, if anyone on here is thinking of Scambaiting, make sure that you don't use any personally identifiable details. Like my moderator here, Hazel, that's not her real name. I'm not telling you what my name is. You can call me Annie. Lily is really my cat's name, but lots of cats are called Lily. All I'm prepared to tell you is I live somewhere in rural England. And for the website, I have the Whois privacy turned on so that nobody can look at it and see my name and address attached to that or any of my other websites. All my characters have their own Gmail addresses and they have their own Facebook accounts. If you could see my computer, I actually have 5 web browsers on here. One is mine. Annie is Opera. Celia is Firefox. Serafina is Edge, Microsoft Edge. And then I got fed up with her and Denise being on the same one. So I downloaded something called Brave a couple of weeks ago. So Denise is on Brave. Lots of scammers on Facebook message boards. Absolutely. Yes. Always remind myself that all of the word women still fall for the nonsense you see every day. Absolutely, and so do men. So do men. Especially, it's universal. I don't think I could do what you do. I have no patience for that. I'll start cussing them out. Yes. Well, it's tempting, but it wouldn't be YouTube friendly, would it? So, I can't do that. Is this your real hair? What a cheek, Isis. Yes, it's real. Promise you, it's attached firmly to my head. It's always been there. If you're planning on scambaiting scammers who need what, Dark Knight? Hello, Cybertech. Greeting. Hello from Georgia. Serafina is my favourite. Yeah, well, I think everybody has their favourite. Okay, I'll call you Annie instead of RSOS from now on. Yes, you can do that, Joed. Annie's my oldest alter ego, and she signs all my any email that comes to help@keepsafeonthenet.co.uk. Annie signs it when she replies. So if you're planning on scambaiting scammers who need to log onto your computer using any desk, always use a virtual machine. Absolutely. I've never let any of them on. I don't know how to do that. Watch Kit Boga or Jim Browning or Pierogi or someone like that. That's not what I do. Never ever give anyone remote access to your computer unless you're in the same room as them. Absolutely. I just add a little caveat to that because actually, especially during lockdown, as I said, one of the things that I do is computer troubleshooting. I have been doing it remotely for my clients for the last 18 months and for some of them a lot longer. But they know me. They know who I am. They've met me. And they always phone me to tell me they've got a problem. And they know who I am. They're not getting a number off the internet. So I'm just going to look at my little list of questions while there's a lull. I think we've done all the questions. We've answered all the questions that I was going to ask. Is Jim one of it? I like Jim Browning because I admire his technical skills. I don't even begin to understand how he does what he does. I quite like Pleasant. Actually, I do like Pleasant Green. I know not everybody does, but I like his videos too. Skeleton Siski. Do you know what? I have watched his videos, but I can't think what they're like at the moment. Yes, funnily enough, 10% of the time the solution is a glorified version of have you tried switching it on and off. I'd say more than that, actually. If you're on the end of my phone, probably 50% of the time. Have you tried turning it on and off? Oh, do you think I should? Yes. Oh, you're a genius. Thank you so much. I haven't done anything. It was great when Seraphina said she would like one of her special candles, and the scammer came unglued asking her if she was a priestess. Yes, I have freaked a couple. Seraphina has freaked a couple for obvious reasons, especially if she says she's going to do spells. Without ripping your hair out. Well, I've got plenty of hair. Hair is one thing I'm not short of. Doesn't it ever dawn on the scammers that their voices don't match their photos? Well, do you know what? That's the thing that I always wonder about. Do they not realise that they have a very strong accent, as I do? I would say I have a very strong English accent. If you live in Glasgow, I probably wouldn't understand you because you'd have a very strong Glaswegian accent. If you live in France and you're speaking English, you have a particular accent. And I'm sure that applies around the world to every language. So if I started trying to speak Yoruba, I'm sure they would spot straight away that I had an English accent trying to speak their language. So I do find that hard to believe. The interesting thing is that this year there's been because there's an increasing number of scam baiters. There's been oh, hello, little piece. This year, because there's an increasing number of scam baiters, there's been an increasing tendency for the scammers either to turn around and say to me, "You're a Nigerian scammer." Just say, "Well, yeah, sorry, I'm not Nigerian." But because of that, one of the first things they want to do now is call you on Hangouts so that they can speak to you. Well, I have the advantage of them, obviously, because I am English and I sound English, and they really don't sound American or Spanish or whatever they're claiming to be. But of course, in the interest of making the videos for YouTube, I can't say that. But, that hopefully that gives a lot of genuine potential victims the clue that the person they're talking to isn't who they say they are. Yeah, there are lots of different accents in the UK, Joed. One of the ones that I personally find hardest to do is where Celia lives in Durham. Don't think it's giving anything away to say I went to Durham University. So I lived there for 4 years. And I never could do a Durham accent, and I still can't. Scotland is a lot. Well, there's several accents in Scotland, of course. You sound proper to me. Thank you, little piece, because I am proper. I'm genuine. And of course, unlike all of them who are usually not prepared to turn their webcams on, I am, because, I'm a grey-haired lady. They're not going to know, are they? I have a Kenyan accent, and I couldn't pretend that my father was born in France, went to school in Botswana, and I went to school in America, live in Glasgow. No. I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. Some of these scammers are total idiots, yes. I regret to say that. I would agree with that. Funny how they try to pass themselves off as Americans most of the time. Yes. Probably because, I do get some friend requests on Facebook from people who straight up say they're in Nigeria. And I remove all of those. Not because I don't want to be friends with someone from Nigeria, but because they're not what my channel is about. And I know that they are going to be beggars. Maybe I should do. Perhaps that's something I should try. Perhaps I should try befriending some of those and see how long it takes them to ask for money. I've noticed that at the beginning of the conversation, the scammers tend to try very hard to sound American, and then it goes downhill. I don't think I've had anyone that's even tried. Yes, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Pugs for life. They're all born somewhere else and live somewhere else. Every single one of them will tell you, I come from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I live in Houston in Texas. I don't tell people that. I don't say I came from and now I live in. I just say I live in. But there you go. Even in America, there's a diverse range of accents. There certainly is, especially the deep South accents are very different. For example, in Oklahoma, most of us don't even realise it, but we pronounce days a little silly. We say Monday or Tuesday. And so, okay. I still have trouble with the Aberdonian accent, even though I've lived here for 40 years, having originally lived in Edinburgh. Well, there you go. I can't believe they think they can cover up their lies with lovey-dovey stuff. I find some of it hard to believe. And they clearly, I used to make jokes about them going to scam school, but they clearly trade lists of questions to ask your beloved and lists of things to say. And I am quite convinced there's a fake name generator out there into which somebody has inputted a whole load of first names, because they all have two first names, or almost always, and often the surname's the first name. I'm living with my mother. I had one faker that was on landline on the house phone, Mr. Whitehouse. He was so annoying for years. So I blew a whistle in his ear. Yes, when you get scammers on the landline, it's horrible, especially, these days most landline phones allow you to block people. But, years ago, you couldn't block people, and BT weren't interested in helping you. Do you believe some of these guys would rob you blind on the street given the chance? I suspect that some of them would. I particularly thought that with the Eric Whittaker one, because it was the first time I don't know if any of you have watched that. It was a few months ago now, The Fake Musician. And in that, it was when Annie was living with her mother in Twickenham. She's moved around. And he was absolutely adamant he was going to send her a present, even though she said she didn't want one. And so she gave him a fake address. And he kept coming back to her saying, I've got someone trying to find the address. Where are you? And then when she said, well, you can't send it here. You've got to send it to my cousin in wherever it was, somewhere in Scotland, because otherwise my mother will see the present, and gave another fake address somewhere in Scotland. He got very angry because the person on the ground in Scotland couldn't find that fake address either. And a few people have said to me, was he on Google Maps? But at the time, I was convinced that he actually had people on the ground going around looking. And as Hazel said to me, actually, a few days ago, with Denise and Alistair Leslie, he knew, or he believed, that she had taken £800 out of the bank and that she had £800 in cash in her house. And he believed he had her address. So that was actually setting her up to be a burglary victim. What is the longest time they spent before asking for money? Not very long, because I know the right questions to ask them to encourage them to get on with it. So I'm always asking them, when can I meet them, and all that kind of stuff. But, I know some people do it for years. Will go on for years before they really start asking them for serious money. The serious professional, in quotes, scammers are persistent. The giveaways words such as my queen, sweetie, my rib. Oh yes, that was funny. I think that was live, isn't it? You've seen the one where he typed rip and I didn't understand what he was trying to say. If we had a nickel for every deer and or honey they throw out, we could reimburse every victim and make profits. Well, I'd certainly be living on an island in the Caribbean drinking cocktails, wouldn't I? Remember my rib? Yes, he was fairly recent, wasn't he? Oh, hello, Russ. If you've just joined us, you're a bit late to the party, because I am going to finish at 7, because otherwise my poor moderator will be on her knees, or she's killing herself laughing, one or the other. I like Scambait. Oh, yes, Poison Renault baits them for hours. Yes, she's good. And also Mistress Scambait, if you know Mistress. She She's a little, let's say, more close to the knuckle. I try very hard to keep it clean, and if there's anything that isn't, I cut it out before I upload the videos, because although my videos are not made for kids, absolutely not made for kids, you know, I'm very aware that they could hear them at their parent, you know, so I try to keep it clean, which is hard sometimes, obviously, when you're doing a romance scam. I was first introduced to scambaiting by Atomic Shrimp, yes, who sometimes does email scambaiting. Oh, Hoax Hotel. Yes, he's good, isn't he? And he can go on for hours. Absolutely. Yes, I like Hoax Hotel. I like his graphics as well. They're almost as amateur as mine, but probably more intentionally so than mine. Found Scambait Central, and through them, yes. Mr. Pricky has sent me quite a lot of channel members, and I'm very grateful to him. And yeah, I mean, he does his live streams for like 8-10 hours, doesn't he? I don't know how he's got the stamina to do it. And of course, he has all those amazing people on. Mistress Scambait is one of the ones on his. Okay. Right. Well, I think if there aren't any more questions, that I just want to say thank you again so much to every single one of you that's subscribed, because, oh, hang on. You folks are a different breed. I'm sure you've heard it before, but you all have an astounding amount of patience. Yes, I'm not entirely sure that I do, but it's work, isn't it? At the end of the day. Again, in Africa, words like my rib and queen used as romantic gestures. There are even songs about my African queen and my ribs. Yeah. One thing that I often think is, I mean, some of these scammers are out and out bullies, basically. That's how, and they're trying to play on the emotionally vulnerable. And I do wonder whether a lot of Nigerian men are very disappointed by a lot of Nigerian women who I suspect know how to stand up for themselves. Would that be right? And yeah, I mean, if any of you know anyone that's emotionally vulnerable, their tactics are often just to try and bully you. And I do suspect that anyone that has come from an abusive background or has had an abusive relationship is more likely to give in to their tactics than someone who hasn't. I mean, if anyone tries to bully me in real life, they might as well shut themselves in a cupboard and talk to themselves, because it's not going to happen. But a lot of people will give in to bullies. Don't care about the pain and destruction they cause in families. No, they don't. I don't think they even think about that. I think, what do I think of rainbow? Oh, do you mean music is a rainbow? The lady with the lovely daughter, I think that's probably what you mean. Yes, she spends hours on the phone as well, doesn't she? You want to move to the state of Chagio? Well, we're all going to Chagio, aren't we? I'll hire a plane. We can all go there. These scammers could be the best psychologists in the world. I don't think so, because they only have one tactic. All this talk about ribs is making me hungry. Yeah, let's. Well, that or one of the commenters did offer to buy everyone a breatharian dinner. None of the scammers have worked that out yet. Thank you very much, little piece. Okay, Sharon. I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about putting up videos about scam victims. If you'd like to email, I'll just type it in the chat again for everyone. If you'd like to email help@keepsafe on the net. I can't spell apparently. Put an E in there. help@keepsafeonthenet.co.uk. If you'd like to email help@keepsafeonthenet, then You can tell your story in a video if you like. Or if you wanted, we could do a live audio and I could record that and upload it. The videos that I've done so far of victims have been stories that viewers have sent me. I cut out absolutely anything personal or identifiable, even one person I thought might be identifiable from their profession, so I cut that out. And I never upload the video until the person who sent me the story is 100% happy with it. And they're easily edited. So if you want to email help@keithsafeonthenet and tell me your story, please do. I'm not just sweetie Hannah. Have a great night over there. Thank you very much. Why don't you monetize your channel? I have done. I've just started when I got to 1,000 subscribers. Yay! Yes, I turned on the monetization. The last couple of videos I've put up, I haven't, the short ones, because never having done it before, I found this quite interesting. If your video is only short, you can't have mid-video ads. You can only have before it starts and after. And if it's only short, you can't turn off the before ads. And I don't like the idea of someone coming directly to the video and getting an ad rather than me saying, hello, everyone, and welcome to another video. So I decided for the really short ones not to monetize them. Once your video is longer, then you can choose to turn off before, you can choose to turn off after, and you can choose to have it in the middle. And you can choose where to have it in the middle, but I haven't worked out how to do that yet. But yes, I have started monetizing it, and I have so far earned £4.50. Just want to add, it may be healing, however everyone is there. It certainly was healing, Jennifer, to the last lady that I put up. I can't remember her name, just a few weeks ago, and she actually emailed. Well, we exchanged several emails afterwards, and she finished by emailing to say that she had finally told one of her daughters, and her daughter had been very supportive, and she felt that yes, that she was now able to move on, because she said, because of the way I explained in the video what was happening to her, she started to understand that it wasn't her fault, because it's not your fault. Thank you very much, Bashful Scambaiter. Oh, have you got a channel? I have to look afterwards. Do scammers and narcissists have the same trait? I wouldn't know, I'm afraid. You'd have to ask a psychologist or something. I don't know. I mean, some of them are narcissists, aren't they? Some of them just think they're wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes. It's very easy in life, in all sorts of situations, to knock someone else, but until you've walked in their shoes, you don't know their story. You don't know why whatever happened to them happened. Okay, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much to everyone for coming. Thank you so much to everyone that's sent a super chat. I really, really, really appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate that you've all subscribed, because it's you that's made this happen. And we might do another live Q&A in till 3 months. That would be interesting, because it's nice to meet you all. And here's YouTube setting up its annoying notifications. So okay, so I'm going to say thank you very much to my live chat moderator, I can't even say it, Hazel, who's just said yes, listen to Hazel. I can't tell you anything about Hazel, but she does know what she's talking about, is all I can tell you. So please listen to Hazel. It could be healing. And thank you very much to Hazel. Thank you very much to everyone in the stream for behaving yourselves. Not that I was expecting that you wouldn't, but you know how it is. If somebody just accidentally comes across the stream, you get people that want to spam it, because it's the same people that put the thumbs down, isn't it? They're just bored and they've got nothing else to do. Thank you very much, Sharon. Yes, Annie will have a good day. She's going to go off and make herself some dinner, but she's not telling you what she's going to have. mainly because I have no idea. LA to you, Stephen, as well. Okay, yes. Bye, Jennifer. Bye, everyone else. And yes, bye. And I'm going to end the stream now.